Welcome to part number 3 of the Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse playthrough. Now in this video we are going to meet our third playable character, but we won't get to play as him quite yet because, well, you'll see. Anyways, we're moving on to the level 5s, and it's here we start to realize how difficult this game actually is. With a lot of the later levels, they're very vertical. You're often just going up, and that's a problem because they often involve a lot of stairs. And stairs are your main enemy in this game. When you're on the stairs, you really don't have any ability to move. You're pretty much stuck there. You can't avoid enemies. And with these enemies and the Medusa heads we'll be seeing later, they often move in wavy patterns, so it's very hard to actually hit them with your whip. So you may have a sub-weapon that could help you out, like the axe I have here, but most of the time you're pretty defenseless on the stairs. There's not much you can do to defend yourself. And that is one of the, that's the main hazard in this game, besides the enemies of course. Stairs, there's not much you can do to defend yourself. So, I really don't have much advice for you in that regard. I mean, what am I supposed to tell you? Am I supposed to tell you, like, there's some sort of secret to defeating those stairs? I mean, there really isn't. There's not much you can do. Just, sometimes you're going to need to take a hit, so just make your way up the stairs. Proceed, I don't want to say go slowly, but just be cautious. Watch out for enemies, especially the flying ones. And if you have the axe, that can help you out, and the cross as well, that also works. But all the other sub-weapons really don't help you. And it's here we are also introduced to the scrolling sections, where the screen, it'll just shift up every few seconds, and if you get caught on the bottom of the screen, you will die. So you have to be very, you can't waste your time. You have to keep moving. Otherwise, you are going to die. Don't just try to stay at the top of the screen, because sometimes enemies will just spawn randomly, like when you go up too high and then the screen shifts up and then an enemy respawns where you were standing, or spawns. So, don't be at the very top. Try to stay in the middle area. That's the safest point to be. But those really aren't too bad. Not as bad as the stairs, anyway. And this level isn't too bad. I mean, it's still hard, but it's nowhere near as bad as some of the later levels, like some of the level 8s and some of the level... No, I think there's only one level 8. I can't remember at some point, but the structure of this game, it's very non-linear. You can choose your own path, but all the paths will meet up at Dracula's castle. And I can't remember what level that is. I think it's level 9, or maybe it's level 8. I can't exactly remember, but no matter what path you will take, you will always end up in Dracula's castle. And so the final 3 levels of the game, they will be the same for every single player. No matter what path you will take, you will always end up in the same end levels. So the final 3 levels, I believe, are the same for everybody. So just keep that in mind. And I don't really know if there's like an easy path. Like, every single path you can take, they all have really hard levels, so just pick whatever. I mean, I have no recommendations for you. I usually pick the path that leads to Sypha, and then I pick the path that... Oh, there's one level I absolutely hate, and I always try to avoid it, but I'll point that out when we get to it. And that last part we were at, we were on a bunch of stairs, and there were a bunch of skull towers shooting projectiles at us, and there really wasn't anything we could do because we had the holy water, so there was no way for me to defeat them. And so you had to navigate the stairs in a very specific way, and you really don't have much room to... You don't really have much room where you're safe. So just try to make it up the stairs as quickly as you possibly can. Take a hit if you can, if you have some extra health. But you can destroy the fireballs with your whip, which is nice if you get caught in a sticky situation, but those parts are very difficult, and we will be seeing those in the later levels as well, and they get even worse. It's just, this game was obviously made for people who played Castlevania 1. This game was made for experts, because this game is just so hard. It's way harder than the original Castlevania. Without a doubt, it's much harder. But anyways, here is our boss for this level 5. It is the Frankenstein monster, and he is much easier than he was in Castlevania 1. Basically, he'll just walk around the room, throw some rocks at you, and then have some rocks from the ceiling fall at you. It's much easier without the monkey thing that was with him in the first game. It doesn't really matter what sub-weapon you have, they all work pretty well against him. I had the knife here just because I died and I had to get another sub-weapon, but anything will work. Or you can just use the whip, because the whip, it works really good for some of the bosses. Like some of them that are really slow and don't move all that much. It's good for them, but later on, we'll be seeing that the whip is pretty useless against some of the bosses. Especially the final boss. The whip is just, it's pointless. You'll never use it. But we'll be seeing that in part number 7, I believe. Anyways, here is the second level 5. It is Alucard's Cave, I believe that's the name of it. And it is here we meet our third and final playable character. It is Alucard. If you are not familiar with the whole story behind Dracula, Alucard is Dracula's son. If you spell Alucard backwards, you get Dracula, in case you didn't know that. It's just, when I first found that out, I was like, whoa, I did not know that. I didn't realize that it was Dracula spelled backwards, and it was just a really funny moment for me, because I should have realized it, and I don't know, I just should have realized it, but I didn't. And there's a lot of movies with Dracula and Alucard, especially some older ones. I haven't personally seen any of those movies. I'm not really into, movies. I'm not really a movie person. I'll occasionally go see a movie, but for the most part, I don't really like movies. I like video games, as you can obviously tell. I play a lot of them, but there's a lot of movies, and if you're into sort of those classic era movies, then you should probably check some of them out. I don't know the names of any of them, but just look up old Dracula movies and you'll find some. I don't know, if you're interested, they're there. Watch out for these spike barrier things. They are an instant kill, so do not get hit by them. And this level, it just, everything went wrong for all of my other playthroughs. If you didn't hear in part number 2 or part number 1, I can't remember. I did 6 playthroughs of this game just to get footage where I didn't die a whole lot. And every single other playthrough of this level, I just died over and over again. It just did not go well for me. But luckily here, I did alright. I didn't die at all, which is good. Anyways, here's our boss for the level. It is Alucard. Alucard will teleport around the room, and then once he materializes, he'll throw some fireballs at you. They can be destroyed with the whip, so there's really no threat with this boss. I'm pretty sure the holy water does not affect him, because I'm pretty sure you can only hit his head. So if you can get the cross, that's the best option. Just throw a cross when he materializes, then use your whip to destroy the fireballs, and you should be fine. It's a pretty easy boss. There's no difficult to avoid attacks. It's just it's a pretty simple boss, so you should be fine. By defeating Alucard, we get the option to take Alucard with us. And in this video, I do not choose to take him with me. We'll be seeing him in part number 4. But Alucard is, I don't think anybody would argue with me when I say that Alucard is the worst partner in the game. He is terrible. There's no reason to ever take him with you. He does have a cool special ability, but his normal attacks are so weak, they are so pathetic, there is no reason to ever use Alucard. He's really bad, so I highly recommend that you leave him behind because there's no reason to ever take him. And once you leave him behind, you actually have another piece of the level. It's very short, there's no... Oh no, there are some annoying enemies. Those mummies right there, they're very tricky. If you have the holy water, you can take care of them relatively easily, but if you have anything else, I'm pretty sure it's near impossible to get past them without taking a hit unless you have the holy water, because they just throw these things at you. I don't know what they are, but they're near impossible to dodge. You can't duck under them, you can't jump over them, and there's really nothing you can do to avoid them. But in parts number 4, we will try out Alucard and go to some of the level 6s. I'll see you then.